I stood frozen in the middle of my parents' backyard, the late summer air thick with barbecue smoke and awkward silence. 20 pairs of eyes fixed on me as my fingers found the paper sign that had been taped to my back for God knows how long. I could hear my brother Alex's snicker before I even read the word disgrace, written in his unmistakable handwriting. My name is Nancy, and at 35 years old, I was about to murder my older brother. Metaphorically speaking, of course. I'm a lawyer, not a criminal. Oh, come on, Nance, it's just a joke. Alex's voice carried across the yard, followed by a few uncomfortable chuckles from our cousins. You used to be fun before you got all fancy with your big shot attorney status. I crumpled the paper in my fist, forcing a smile that felt more like a grimace. Real mature, Alex, really showing off that executive wisdom of yours. Mom appeared at my side, her hand gentle on my arm. Nancy, Majida, don't let him get to you. You know how he is at these reunions. Yeah, I know exactly how he is, I muttered, watching him hold court by the grill, surrounded by our male cousins who still thought he hung the moon. That's why I didn't want to come. Nancy. A familiar voice cut through my anger. My best friend Layla weaved through the crowd, 2 margaritas in hand. Thank God I'd convinced her to come as my +1. You will not believe what I just overheard in the kitchen. Before she could continue, Alex's voice boomed across the yard again. Ladies and gentlemen, gather round. Time for the annual Ramos family photo. I need a minute, I told Layla, heading for the house. She followed, our heels clicking against the concrete path. Inside my childhood home, I made a beeline for my father's old study. The room still smelled like his cigars, even though he'd been gone for 3 years. I collapsed into his leather chair, the one Alex had been eyeing since the funeral. Okay, spill it, I said to Layla, who was closing the door behind us. What did you hear? She perched on the desk, lowering her voice. I was getting ice when Ivan from your firm called Alex. They didn't know I could hear them. My stomach dropped. Ivan Mann was a senior partner at my law firm, and Alex had recently started doing consulting work for us, a connection I'd stupidly helped facilitate. Alex was talking about some presentation you're giving next week to the Morrison account. He told Ivan you're planning to tank it. What? I shot up from the chair. That's ridiculous. I've been working on that presentation for months. There's more. Layla pulled out her phone. I recorded the last part of their conversation. My hands shook as she pressed play. Alex's voice filled the study. Trust me, Ivan. Nancy's got no idea what she's doing with Morrison. When she crashes and burns, you'll need someone to step in. Someone who actually understands corporate strategy. The recording ended, and I felt the blood drain from my face. He's trying to sabotage me. Nancy! Mom's voice called from outside. The photographer is waiting. Coming! I shouted back, but I couldn't move. The sign, the whispers, the sabotage, it all clicked into place. This isn't just about today. He's been undermining me for months. Layla squeezed my shoulder. What are you going to do? I stood up, smoothing my dress. First, I'm going to smile for that damn photo. Then, I picked up Dad's old letter opener, running my finger along its dull edge. Then I'm going to remind my dear brother that Karma's a bitch who went to law school. We rejoined the family outside, where Alex was orchestrating everyone's positions for the photo. He grabbed my arm, positioning me on the far edge of the group. There's my favorite sister, he said loudly, then whispered, Try not to ruin this one with your resting bitch face. I smiled brilliantly, directly into the camera. Wouldn't dream of it, brother dear. As the photographer counted down, I felt my phone vibrate. A text from Zoe, my mentee at the firm. Nancy, you need to see this video from last week's partners meeting. Alex was there and what he said about you. Call me ASAP. Say cheese, the photographer called. I looked straight into the lens, my smile genuine now. Because in that moment, I knew exactly what I had to do. Alex had spent years building his reputation as the golden boy, the beloved son, the successful executive. He thought that sign on my back was funny? Well, I was about to show him what disgrace really looked like. Perfect shot, the photographer announced. A beautiful family moment. If he only knew what was coming next. Play it again, I said, leaning forward in Layla's living room as Zoe's video filled her laptop screen. The partners' meeting footage showed Alex standing at the head of the conference table, his designer suit perfectly pressed, his smile razor sharp. As an external consultant, Alex was saying, I have serious concerns about the Morrison strategy. The current approach is. He paused dramatically. Well, let's just say it's elementary. Something a first-year associate might propose. That snake, Layla muttered, pausing the video. He never even saw your proposal. No, but he knew exactly when to strike. I grabbed my wine glass, nearly emptying it. The Morrison presentation is my shot at partner. He's trying to poison the well before I even get started. A knock at the door made us both jump. Layla checked her security camera feed and frowned. Speaking of ghosts from the past, she opened the door to reveal my Aunt Esther, whom I hadn't seen since Dad's funeral. She stood there in her signature red lipstick, silver hair swept into an elegant updo, looking exactly like the woman who'd taught me to stand up for myself all those years ago. Nancy, she said, stepping inside, your mother told me I'd find you here. Aunt Esther? I stood, surprised. What are you doing in town? Cleaning out my storage unit? Found something you need to see. She pulled out a manila envelope. But first, tell me about this situation with Alex. Your mother's worried sick. I snorted. Mom's always worried sick about something. Nancy, Esther's voice carried that familiar steel. Tell me. So I did. The sign at the reunion, the recorded phone call, the video from the partners' meeting. Esther listened intently, her expression darkening with each detail. History repeats itself, she finally said, opening the envelope. Your father never wanted you to know this, but Alex pulled similar stunts when you were kids. Remember that scholarship you lost in high school? The one that went to Alex instead. Dad said I missed the application deadline. No, mijita. Alex intercepted your acceptance letter, destroyed it. She handed me a crumpled paper, my original acceptance letter, dated 15 years ago. I found this in his trash can back then, confronted him about it. My hands shook as I read the faded words. Why didn't you tell me? Your father insisted on handling it privately, said exposing Alex would tear the family apart. Esther's laugh was bitter. Look how well that worked out. My phone buzzed. A text from Zoe. Ivan's asking questions about the Morrison presentation. Alex was in his office for an hour today. I can't let him get away with this again, I said, showing Layla and Esther the message. Then don't. Esther's voice was firm. You're not that helpless teenage girl anymore, Nancy. You're a lawyer who's earned everything she has. But Mom will be devastated if I go after him publicly. Your mother, Esther said, needs to learn that protecting Alex from consequences isn't doing anyone any favors. Layla, who'd been unusually quiet, suddenly sat up straight. Wait a minute. Nancy, remember that ethics complaint Alex faced at his old firm? The one that mysteriously disappeared? I nodded slowly. 3 years ago, right before he started his consulting business. I might know someone who worked there. Let me make a call. As Layla stepped into the other room, Esther touched my arm. There's more you should know about Alex, about why he's always been so threatened by you. Because I'm more successful? Because you're exactly like your father, the real version of him, not the sanitized saint your mother talks about. Esther pulled out another document. Your father built his business from nothing, and he did it legally, ethically. Alex, she shook her head. Alex takes shortcuts. Always has. Layla returned, her face flushed with excitement. Nancy, you're going to want to hear this. My contact says Alex didn't just face one ethics complaint. There were 3. All buried because he had dirt on someone high up. I stood up, pacing. So he's been playing this game for years. And winning, Esther added. Until now. My phone buzzed again. Mom this time. Alex says you're spreading rumors about him at work. Majida, please don't do this to the family. I showed the message to Esther, who shook her head. Your mother sent me the same kind of messages 30 years ago, when I tried to expose your uncle's embezzlement. Some things never change. But some things do, I said, straightening my shoulders. I'm not letting Alex write my story anymore. Good, Esther smiled, because I have more documents at home. Years of evidence I've been collecting, waiting for someone brave enough to use it. I looked at the acceptance letter in my hands, then at the paused video of Alex's smug face. I think you just found her. That's my girl, Esther said proudly. Now, let's talk strategy. Monday morning hit differently when you're plotting your brother's downfall. I stepped into the elevator at my firm, files tucked under my arm, when Zoe slipped in just before the doors closed. You're not going to believe what I found, she whispered, glancing at the other occupants. My office. Now. 10 minutes later, I sat across from her desk, staring at a spreadsheet that made my blood boil. He altered the numbers in my Morrison proposal? Not just altered, Zoe said, pointing to specific cells. He created an entirely fake projection model that makes your strategy look amateur. I found the original file in the shared drive's backup folder. And Ivan's seen this? Yesterday, Alex presented it as concerns from an independent analysis. Zoe's air quotes dripped with sarcasm. I pulled out my phone, texting Layla. Meeting still on for lunch? Bring out Esther's files. Nancy? Zoe's voice was hesitant. There's something else. Alex isn't just targeting you. He's been undermining other female partners, too. Sarah in corporate, Maria in tax. A knock interrupted us. Ivan stood in the doorway, his presence filling the small office. Nancy, got a minute? I followed him to his corner office, my heart pounding but my face neutral. Years of courtroom experience had taught me how to wear a poker face. The Morrison presentation, he said, settling behind his massive desk. I'm hearing some concerns. Really? I kept my voice light. From our external consultant, perhaps? Ivan's eyebrows rose slightly. Among others. Nancy, you're one of our strongest litigators, but corporate strategy requires a different skill set, like the ability to manipulate spreadsheets. I pulled out my tablet, opening Zoe's discovery. Or the skill to doctor financial projections. His face remained impassive, but his fingers drummed once on his desk, his tell when he's caught off guard. What are you implying? I'm not implying anything. I'm stating facts. Alex provided you with fraudulent analysis. I turned the tablet toward him. Here's the proof. The door opened before he could respond. Alex walked in, his timing suspiciously perfect. Ivan, about those projections. Nancy? His smile faltered for a split second. What are you doing here? Showing Ivan the original files you altered. I stood facing my brother. Want to explain why the numbers changed so dramatically between versions? Alex laughed, but it didn't reach his eyes. Come on, sis. You're embarrassing yourself. Ivan, clearly she's feeling threatened by objective criticism. Objective? I pulled up another document, one from Aunt Esther's collection. Like that ethics complaint from your old firm? The one about falsifying client reports? The color drained from Alex's face. Where did you get that? Does it matter? What matters is that it exists, along with 2 other complaints you buried. I turned back to Ivan. Still think his analysis is objective? Ivan's expression had shifted from dismissive to concerned. Alex, is this true? She's obviously fabricated these documents, Alex said, but his voice wavered. This is a sad attempt to… To what? I interrupted. To expose the truth? To stop you from sabotaging not just me, but other women in this firm? Ivan held up his hand. Both of you, stop. Nancy, leave these documents with me. Alex, we need to discuss this privately. Actually, I said, gathering my things, I think the ethics board needs to discuss this. I'm sure they'd be very interested in how an external consultant manipulated client data. You wouldn't dare, Alex hissed. Think about Mom. I am thinking about Mom and Dad and every person you've stepped on to get ahead. I walked to the door, then turned back. You know what the funny thing is, Alex? If you'd spent half as much energy on actual work as you did on sabotaging others, you might have succeeded on merit. Back in my office, my phone exploded with texts. Mom, Alex just called, crying, what have you done? Layla, got the files. Meeting at 12:30? And a new one from Aunt Esther. Got a call from an old friend at the ethics board. They're very interested in our evidence. Zoe appeared in my doorway. The partners are calling an emergency meeting. Ivan wants all the documentation we have. I nodded, gathering the files. Ready to make some waves? Born ready, she said, falling into step beside me. But Nancy, what about your family? I thought about the disgrace sign, the stolen scholarship, years of manipulation and lies. My real family, I said, thinking of Layla's unwavering support and Aunt Esther's guidance. They're doing just fine. As we walked to the conference room, I spotted Alex being escorted out by security, his face red with rage. He saw me and mouthed, "You'll regret this." But for the first time since this all began, I felt nothing but peace. The truth was finally coming out, and no amount of family loyalty could make me feel guilty about that. The storm was here, and I was ready to weather it. The coffee shop was nearly empty when Alex slid into the seat across from me. 3 days had passed since his escort from the firm, and the dark circles under his eyes suggested he hadn't slept much since. "You wanted to talk?" His voice was cold. "Talk." I placed my phone on the table, voice recorder app ready. "I'm giving you one chance to come clean. To Mom, to the firm, to everyone. Or what? You'll keep destroying the family?" He leaned forward. "You know Mom hasn't slept since your little stunt. Don't you dare put that on me." I kept my voice steady. "You started this years ago. The scholarship, the sabotage at work, all of it." "The scholarship?" He laughed, but there was something brittle in it. "Still bitter about ancient history?" "Aunt Esther found the acceptance letter in your trash, Alex. She kept it all these years." His face darkened. "That meddling by—" "Choose your next words carefully," I cut him off. "I'm recording this conversation." He glanced at my phone, then smiled. That same smug smile from the partners' meeting video. "You really think you've won something here, don't you? The righteous little sister exposing big bad Alex's crimes? This isn't about winning." "No?" He pulled out his own phone, scrolling through messages. "Let's see what the family thinks. Cousin Maria says you're being cruel. Uncle Roberto thinks you're destroying Dad's legacy. And Mom?" He looked up. "Mom cried herself to sleep last night." I gripped my coffee cup tighter. "They don't know the whole story. They know enough. They know you're trying to ruin me because of some childish rivalry." "Childish?" I played the recording of his conversation with Ivan. His face twitched as his own voice filled the space between us, detailing his plans to sabotage my career. "Turn that off." "Why? Uncomfortable hearing your own words?" "You don't understand anything," he spat. "You never did. Dad's perfect little princess, always getting his praise, his attention. That's what this is about? Dad's attention? He gave you everything. The college recommendations, the law school connections, I earned those things, Alex. I worked for them. Please." He waved his hand dismissively. "You were his favorite from day one. Even Mom knew it. Why do you think she always tried so hard to make me feel special?" I sat back studying my brother's face. "So you sabotaged my scholarship because you were jealous? I did it because you didn't deserve it." His voice rose, drawing looks from nearby tables. "You didn't deserve any of it, and now?" He laughed bitterly. "Now you're trying to take away everything I've built. You built it on lies." "I built it on survival, on knowing that nice guys finish last." He leaned closer. "You want to know something funny? That disgrace sign at the reunion? I plan to do way worse. I had emails ready to send to all your clients, exposing every mistake you've ever made in court." My hand shook as I reached for my phone, making sure it was still recording. "Why are you telling me this?" "Because you need to understand what you're dealing with." His smile turned predatory. "You think this evidence of yours is damaging? Wait until Mom finds out how you've been hiding Dad's old letters." I froze. "What letters?" "The ones where he talked about selling the company. The ones you kept from her because you knew it would break her heart to know he wanted to abandon his legacy." He sat back, triumphant. "Found those in your desk during the reunion. Amazing what people leave lying around." "You broke into my home office? Consider it research." He stood up. "So here's what's going to happen. You're going to drop this whole ethics investigation, tell the firm it was all a misunderstanding, and we'll go back to our happy family facade. Or Mom gets the letters. And trust me, finding out Dad wanted to sell everything will destroy her more than anything I've done." I watched him walk away, my coffee gone cold. My phone buzzed. "Aunt Esther." "How did it go?" I played back the recording, listening to Alex's confession about the scholarship, the planned sabotage, the break-in, his threats about Dad's letters. Then I texted back. He confessed to everything and gave me exactly what we needed. Another buzz. Layla this time. "Family meeting called for tomorrow night. Your mom's insisting everyone attend." I took a deep breath, forwarding Alex's recorded confession to my secure email. He thought he was playing chess, but he'd just handed me his king. Tomorrow night, the whole family would learn the truth. All of it. Even the parts that hurt. Because sometimes, I realized, protecting people from pain only gives others the power to keep hurting them. Mom's living room felt smaller with 20 family members crammed into it. The air was thick with tension and the lingering smell of her stress-baked cookies. Alex sat in Dad's old armchair like it was a throne, while I stood by the fireplace, my laptop connected to the TV screen. "Before we start," Mom said, wringing her hands, "can't we just—" "No, Mom," I cut in gently. "We need to do this." Aunt Esther sat beside me, her presence steady and strong. Layla stood by the door, ready with copies of all our evidence. "This is ridiculous," Alex announced. "Nancy's just upset about a harmless prank at the reunion." "Harmless?" I clicked play on the first recording. Alex's voice filled the room, detailing his plans to sabotage my career. The family listened in stunned silence as he laid out his scheme to Ivan. Uncle Roberto shifted uncomfortably. "Alex, hijo, tell me that's not really you." "It's obviously edited," Alex said, but his confidence wavered. I played the coffee shop recording next. Alex's confession about the scholarship, his break into my house, his threats about Dad's letters. Cousin Maria gasped when he admitted to planning to destroy my client relationships. "The letters," Mom said suddenly. "What letters is he talking about?" I pulled them from my bag. Dad's letters from his last year, the ones where he talked about selling the company. I handed them to her. "I didn't hide them to hurt you, Mom. I found them after he died, and I was trying to figure out the right time." "You knew?" Alex jumped up. "You knew Dad wanted to sell everything, and you let me fight to keep the company in the family?" "Sit down." Aunt Esther's voice cracked like a whip. "Nancy, show them the rest." I pulled up the ethics complaints from Alex's previous firm, the doctored financial reports, the pattern of sabotage against female colleagues. With each new revelation, the room grew heavier with disappointment and shock. "My God," Uncle Roberto whispered. "Alex, what have you done?" "What I had to do," Alex exploded. "All of you sitting there judging me. You have no idea what it's like living in her shadow. Perfect Nancy, Dad's favorite, Mom's precious daughter who could do no wrong." "That's not true," Mom said softly. "You never what?" Alex turned on her. "Never noticed how Dad gave her everything? Never saw how he pushed me aside for her? Even now she's trying to destroy me and you're all just letting her." "I didn't destroy anything," I said. "You did that yourself. Every lie, every scheme, every person you hurt to get ahead, those were your choices." "My choices?" He laughed wildly. "What choice did I have? To be the failure, the disappointment?" "You could have been honest," Aunt Esther stood, "like your father was." "Don't talk about my father," Alex shouted. "You don't know anything about him." "I knew he caught you stealing from the company 3 months before he died," she said quietly. The room went deadly silent. "He came to me, heartbroken, asking what to do. That's why he wanted to sell, to protect the company from you." Mom's hands flew to her mouth. "No." "Yes," Aunt Esther continued. "I have the audit reports. He was going to confront you, Alex, but then he got sick. His last wish was for the truth to stay buried, to protect the family." "That's a lie," Alex whispered, but his face had gone ashen. I connected my phone to the speakers. "Actually, it's not." Dad's voice, weak but clear, filled the room from an old voicemail. "Nancy, Mahita, I need you to protect them from what's coming. Alex, he's done something terrible. The company, I can't let him. Just keep them safe until—" The message cut off. I'd found it months after his death, buried in my old voicemails. "I think," Uncle Roberto said into the silence, "we need to discuss the future of the family company." "There's nothing to discuss." Alex grabbed his jacket. "You want the truth? Fine. I took the money. I sabotaged Nancy. I did whatever I had to do to succeed, and none of you would have cared if she hadn't exposed it." "Alex, please." Mom reached for him, but he jerked away. "Save it," he spat. "You'll all see. Without me, everything Dad built will fall apart." He stormed out, the door slamming behind him. Mom started to cry, and Maria rushed to comfort her. "Nancy," Uncle Roberto said quietly, "what do we do now?" I looked at the scattered evidence of my brother's betrayals, at my crying mother, at the family torn between loyalty and truth. "Now," I said, "we rebuild, the right way this time." Aunt Esther squeezed my hand as the family began to talk, really talk, for the first time in years. Outside, I heard Alex's car screech away into the night, but the sound didn't hurt anymore. Sometimes healing can only begin after everything falls apart. The ethics board wants to meet tomorrow, Zoe announced, dropping into the chair across from my desk. They're reviewing Alex's consulting contracts with 3 other firms. I nodded, scanning through another wave of emails. The fallout from Alex's exposure had created a tsunami in the legal community. Any word from his old firm? They're reopening the buried complaints. Apparently your evidence sparked an internal investigation. My phone buzzed. Another text from Mom. Alex cleaned out his apartment. No one knows where he went. Please call me. Your mother again? Layla asked, walking in with coffee. She'd been my shadow at work since the family meeting 3 days ago. She's worried about him. I set the phone down. She's been having these anxiety attacks. A knock interrupted us. Ivan stood in the doorway looking uncomfortable. Nancy, got a minute? Privately? Once the others left, he settled into a chair, tugging at his tie. The board is concerned about the Morrison presentation next week, given everything that's happened. I'm not backing out. I cut in. Alex wanted to destroy my credibility. If I step down now, he wins. Actually, Ivan cleared his throat. We want you to take over his consulting contracts. The clients are demanding refunds, threatening lawsuits. They trust you. Me? After everything Alex said about my capabilities? Precisely because of that. Your exposure of his fraud has made you somewhat of a corporate hero. He smiled wryly. The woman who stood up to corruption, even when it was family. My phone buzzed again. Aunt Esther this time. Found something in your father's old files. Come by ASAP. I'll think about it, I told Ivan. But first I need to— Nancy, Zoe burst in, face flushed. You need to see this. Alex just posted online. She thrust her tablet at me. There was my brother, looking disheveled in what appeared to be a hotel room, recording a video confession. My sister thinks she's exposed the truth. His voice was slurred. But she doesn't know everything. About Dad's company, about what really happened before he died, about— The video cut off abruptly. It's going viral, Zoe said. Legal blogs are picking it up. My phone rang. Mom again. This time I answered. Nancy, she was crying. Your uncle found something in the company books. Money missing. Millions. From right before your father died. Alex's video. I'm on my way. I grabbed my coat. Meet me at Aunt Esther's. 30 minutes later, I sat in Aunt Esther's study, staring at financial records spread across her desk. Mom paced behind me while Uncle Roberto pointed out discrepancies. The money disappeared in small amounts, he explained. Over months, but the total— He shook his head. Your father must have discovered it. He did. Aunt Esther pulled out a USB drive. This was in his personal files, password protected. I finally cracked it this morning. The files painted a devastating picture. Alex hadn't just stolen from the company. He'd been laundering money for clients, using Dad's business as a front. That's why Dad wanted to sell, I whispered, to stop this before it was discovered. There's more. Aunt Esther clicked another file. Your father was gathering evidence, planning to turn Alex in. Then he got sick. And Alex saw an opportunity, Uncle Roberto finished. With your father gone, no one would find out. Mom sank into a chair. All these years, I defended him, pushed him to take over the company. My phone buzzed with a news alert. Alex had posted another video, this one even more unhinged. He was threatening to expose everyone involved unless the family backed off. He's spiraling, Layla said from the doorway. I hadn't even heard her arrive. This could get ugly. Could get? I laughed bitterly. Look at Mom. Look at our family. It's already ugly. Nancy, Aunt Esther touched my arm. There's something else you need to see. Something your father left specifically for you. She handed me a sealed envelope, Dad's handwriting on the front. For Nancy, when the truth comes out. Inside was a letter, dated 3 days before he died. Mi amor, I know you'll be the one to find this. You always were the one who sought truth, just like me. Alex has done terrible things, but the worst is what he's done to himself. When this all comes to light, and it will, remember that justice without mercy is just revenge. Love, Dad. I looked up at my family. Mom's tear-stained face, Uncle Roberto's worried frown, Aunt Esther's steady gaze. My phone kept buzzing with notifications about Alex's increasingly erratic posts. What do we do? Mom asked quietly. I folded Dad's letter carefully. We do what Dad would have done. We bring this to light, all of it. but we also give Alex one last chance to do the right thing. And if he doesn't take it, Uncle Roberto asked, then we let justice take its course. I pulled out my phone to call Zoe. But first, we need to find him. Before he does something we'll all regret. The hotel bar was exactly where Layla's contact said Alex would be. He sat alone in a corner booth, tie loosened, several empty glasses in front of him. When he saw me approach, he laughed, a hollow, broken sound. Come to finish what you started? He raised his glass. Congratulations, sister. You won. This isn't about winning. I slid into the booth across from him. Your videos are scaring, Mom. Mom? He scoffed. Now you care about Mom? After you exposed everything? I found Dad's records, Alex. The money laundering, all of it. His hand tightened around his glass. Of course you did. Perfect Nancy, always finding everything. The ethics board meets tomorrow. The FBI is involved now. This is your last chance to come clean. Or what? He leaned forward, eyes glazed. You'll add more charges to the pile? Destroy what's left of my reputation? I'll help you turn yourself in. Make a deal. I pulled out Dad's letter. It's what he would have wanted. Alex's face twisted. Don't talk about what he wanted. You have no idea. He knew Alex before he died. He knew everything. Shut up. He was gathering evidence, planning to report you. Then he got sick. I said shut up. Alex slammed his hand on the table, making the glasses rattle. Several heads turned our way. Lower your voice, I warned. Or what? You'll record this too? Add it to your collection of evidence? He pulled out his phone. Maybe I should start recording. Tell everyone how you knew about the money laundering months ago, but kept quiet to protect your precious career. That's a lie. Is it? You found Dad's records, right? When exactly did you find them, Nancy? Before or after you started your little crusade against me? A waiter approached cautiously. Is everything okay here? Fine, I said, not taking my eyes off Alex. We're fine. Nothing's fine. Alex laughed again, louder this time. Nothing's been fine since she started digging. You want to know the truth, Nancy? Dad was going to sell because of you. What? Your precious scholarship? The one I stole? He had to pull strings to get you considered, called in favors, compromised his ethics, for you. He drained his glass. That's why he wanted out. The guilt was eating him alive. You're lying. Am I? Check his calendar from back then. All those mysterious meetings with the scholarship board, the donations he made. Alex's smile was cruel. Your perfect father wasn't so perfect after all. My hands shook as I pulled out my phone, finding Aunt Esther's number. Go ahead. Alex stood unsteadily. Call your reinforcements, but remember, you started this war. I'm just finishing it. He stumbled toward the exit, but I grabbed his arm. Alex, wait. Don't touch me. He jerked away, knocking over a chair. You think you're better than me? At least I'm honest about who I am. You hide behind this righteous act, but you're just as corrupt. Sir? A security guard approached. I need you to leave. I'm leaving, Alex sneered. But first, he turned to the now silent bar. Let me tell you all about my sister, the great crusader for truth. Did you know? The guard grabbed his arm. Alex swung wildly, his fist connecting with the guard's jaw. Everything happened fast after that. More security rushing in, Alex fighting, screaming accusations about Dad, about me, about everyone. I watched them drag him out, his words still echoing, "You're just as corrupt." My phone buzzed. Zoe. FBI wants to meet tomorrow morning. They have questions about when you first discovered the financial records. Another text from Mom. Alex just called. He said something about Dad and your scholarship. What's happening? And finally, Aunt Esther. Come over now. There's something about the scholarship you need to see. I sat there, surrounded by Alex's empty glasses, feeling the weight of everything he'd said. Was he right? Had I started this crusade for justice or for revenge? Had Dad really compromised himself for me? The security guard returned, holding an ice pack to his jaw. Ma'am, we've called the police. They'll want a statement. I nodded, gathering my things. Through the window, I could see Alex being handcuffed, still shouting. Our eyes met for a moment, and in that look, I saw something I'd never seen before. Not anger or hatred, but fear, raw, desperate fear. And suddenly, I understood. This wasn't about the scholarship or Dad's company, or even the money laundering. This was about a lifetime of lies we'd all told ourselves and each other. I pulled out Dad's letter again, reading the last line. Justice without mercy is just revenge. Taking a deep breath, I dialed Mom's number. Get everyone to Aunt Esther's. It's time we all learned the whole truth. About everything. Because sometimes I realized the only way to heal a family is to break down every lie they've built their lives around, even the ones that hurt the most. The courthouse steps were crowded with reporters as I made my way inside. Alex's sentencing hearing had drawn attention from every legal blog and news outlet in the city. I found Mom sitting alone in the back row, clutching her purse like a lifeline. You didn't have to come, I said, sliding in beside her. Yes, I did. She straightened her spine. We both did. The door opened, and Alex entered in handcuffs. He'd lost weight in the months since his arrest, his designer suit hanging loose on his frame. His eyes found us, widened slightly, then looked away. All rise, the bailiff called. The judge reviewed the charges: money laundering, corporate fraud, assault on the hotel security guard. Then she looked at Alex. Does the defendant wish to make a statement before sentencing? Alex stood slowly. Your Honor, He turned, finally meeting my gaze. I've had a lot of time to think in jail. About choices. About truth. He swallowed hard. My sister exposed my crimes, but she also showed me mercy. When she found evidence of larger frauds, she came to me first, gave me a chance to confess. His voice cracked. I didn't take it. That's on me. Mom's hand found mine as Alex continued. I blamed everyone else for my choices. My father, my sister, the system. But the truth is, I chose this path. Every lie, every fraud, every moment of betrayal was my decision. He turned back to the judge. I accept full responsibility, and I accept whatever sentence you deem appropriate. The judge nodded. Given your cooperation with the FBI's ongoing investigation and your guilty plea, I sentence you to 5 years in federal prison, followed by 3 years of supervised release. As they led Alex away, he paused near our row. Nancy? Yes? Dad would be proud of you, not just for exposing the truth, but for how you did it, with justice and mercy, like he taught us. Mom started crying softly as Alex disappeared through the side door. Outside, Aunt Esther waited with Layla and Zoe. How did it go? 5 years, I said. And he apologized. Will you visit him? Mom asked quietly. Yes, I surprised myself with the certainty in my voice. He's still my brother. My phone buzzed. Ivan calling. Nancy, the Morrison presentation was incredible. The board just voted. Congratulations, partner. I thanked him and hung up, turning to my family. Who's hungry? An hour later, we sat around a table at Dad's favorite restaurant. The same table where we'd celebrated my law school graduation, where Alex had announced his first executive position, where Dad had held his last birthday dinner. I found something else in your father's files, Aunt Esther said, pulling out an envelope. He wrote it the day before he died, but it wasn't meant to be read until now. Mom took the letter with trembling hands and began to read aloud. My beloved family, if you're reading this, the truth has finally come out. Nancy, my fierce truth seeker, I knew you would be the one to uncover it all. Not for revenge, but for justice. Alex, my son, your choices broke my heart, but you're still my boy. The path to redemption is never closed. To my Natalia, my love, forgive me for keeping secrets. I thought I was protecting our family, but secrets only breed more secrets. The scholarship story Alex told, it's both true and false. Yes, I made donations to the school, but Nancy earned her place purely on merit. The donations were my attempt to help other students who couldn't afford to attend. Our family was built on hard work and truth. Somewhere along the way, we lost sight of that. But I believe in all of you, in your strength to rebuild, to forgive, to become better. With eternal love, Roberto. Silence fell over the table as Mom folded the letter. So, Layla said finally, what happens now? I looked at my mother, who had stopped crying and sat straighter, more determined. At Aunt Esther, whose wisdom had guided us through the darkness. At Zoe, who had risked her career to help expose the truth. at the empty chair where Alex should have been. Now we rebuild, I said. The right way this time, with truth as our foundation. And mercy, Mom added softly. And mercy, I agreed, raising my glass. To Dad's legacy, not the company or the money, but the values he tried to teach us. To truth, justice, and family. To family, they echoed. Outside, the sun was setting over the city. Tomorrow would bring new challenges. The FBI's continuing investigation, the restructuring of Dad's company, the long road of healing our family's wounds. But for now, in this moment, we were together. Broken but mending, hurt but healing. And somehow, I knew Dad was right. The path to redemption is never closed, as long as we're brave enough to take the first step, even if that step means facing the hardest truths about ourselves.